I'm looking at this week's lineup, and nothing but new. Excellent. We're going to start this block. Very, very cool. The first block of trailers and Trailer Trash TV this year, the rest of this season, I should say, is going to be dedicated to probably my favorite suspense director of all time, one Alfred Hitchcock. So we're going to give a little sample this time around, starting with Rebecca from 1940, Suspicion from 1941, and rounding out this block of hits this week, Saboteur from 1942. So with that said, we'll check these out, and I'll be right back to, I don't know, give you my 2 cents.
Announcing the return of the most glamorous motion picture ever made, David O. Selznick and Alfred Hitchcock bring you the Grand Slam prize winner that made motion picture history. Winner of the Academy Award, voted by America's critics as the best picture of the year. And now, as a result of a national poll, winning new honors as audiences throughout the country vote to see it again. The Selznick Studio's successor to Gone with the Wind, Rebecca, brought to the screen with all the warmth and emotion that made millions of readers acclaim Daphne du Maurier's bestseller as the most exciting love story of our time. The fascinating Max de Winter lives on the screen in the person of Laurence Olivier.
Why, it's Max de Winter.
How do you do?
The shy, unsophisticated young girl who dared to follow in the footsteps of the beautiful Rebecca is portrayed by lovely Joan Fontaine.
How could I ask you to love me when I knew you loved Rebecca still? Whenever you touched me, I knew you were comparing me with Rebecca.
What is the mystery of Rebecca? What dread secret is hidden within the silent walls of Manderley?
It's not only in this room. It's in all the rooms in the house. I can almost hear it now. Do you think the dead come back and watch the living?
Tell me, is Mrs. Van Hopper a friend of yours or just a relation?
No, she's my employer. I'm what is known as a paid companion.
I didn't know companionship could be bought.
There is mystery, love, and laughter in Rebecca, the motion picture still unsurpassed for suspenseful romance.
There was something strange about Johnny Aisgard. I knew it long before I married him. Thing you could put your finger on, and yet you were always conscious of it. Conscious of something vague, restless, and frightening. There was our first meeting on the hilltop.
Now, what did you think I'd do, kill you? Nothing less than murder could justify such a violent self-defense.
It's so easy to think. I knew Johnny loved me as desperately as I loved him. And yet I remember now that even his reassurances seemed almost sinister.
I want nothing but to spend the rest of my life with you. And if you were to die first,
If I were to die first. From that moment on, my life was filled with fear. Not of Johnny, I loved him too much to really be afraid. But the fear of not knowing, the agony of waiting, of wondering how it would happen, of waking in the middle of the night, shaking with terror, and finding myself praying that whatever it was, it would be done quickly and with mercy. These are the facts, the evidence before the crime. I wanted you to know, in case I met a violent end.
I'm Barry Kane, American. Right now, I'm a fugitive. A couple of days ago, I was an aircraft worker. Then something happened. Something that could only happen in times like these. My best friend died in that fire. The authorities questioned everybody. I told them what I knew. I even offered to help, but it was no good. They wouldn't believe me.
There were 2 detectives here a moment ago. They wanted to arrest you. They said that you killed him.
That I killed him? You don't know what it is to be hunted like an animal. To dread every door you open. To fear everybody. Even the one girl you could love.
Even if a man committed murder to defend himself, maybe I wouldn't tell the police. But there's only one reason why a man commits sabotage, and that's worse than murder.
We fled through 3,000 miles of terror from Los Angeles to New York. Step by step, the whole vast pattern of sabotage became clear to us. We had to find those saboteurs. Saboteurs who lived in the desert like rats and spied out the land. Influential saboteurs so crazy for power they were willing to stab this country in the back. Well, we found them. And we almost wish we hadn't.
Barry, before they get to us, go out and stop the music and tell them all.
Honey, this is the Sutton Mansion. I'm just a guy from Glendale, California, wanted by the police. They'll grab me as soon as I open my mouth.
But what are you gonna do? We can't just stand here.
So, okay, as you saw, these 3 early efforts of Hitchcock, it was a predecessor of things to come, a forebearer of things to come. You look at the films and see how intense, how sometimes frightening, and how suspenseful they can be without having to rely on the splash, the gore, and the stuff of today. Hitchcock was a genius in that department, that's all I'm going to say. And these trailers are only going to get better. So, beginning with this show and the remainder of Trailer Trash, we're going to be starting with Hitchcock each and every show. So with that said, we're going to take a break and we're going to lighten it up a little bit with, well, we're going to come back with Jerry Lewis. Plain and simple.
Thank you, dear.
Hey, the last one. You better get another pack.
Okay.
Thank you. You probably think that we're making a big fuss over a cigarette. Well, sure. You don't really have to keep this wonderful new king-size Philip Morris cigarette in a safe. It's just our way of telling you that they are kind of precious. The finest king-size cigarette in America today. Smooth, mild, and mellow, and easy on your throat. How about you trying them yourself? Just call for Philip Morris, king-size or regular. Buy them by the carton. You're gonna love them, and we're gonna love you. Hey, what was that for?
You said it so beautifully.
Maris is ready. Here's the pitch. It's going, it's in there. A new Major League record, 61 home runs by Roger Maris.
Hi, kids. That sure was a day for me. Part of the thrill of baseball. The kind of real excitement I've put into my great new game by Pressman, Action Baseball.
The score is 2-2. You're up at bat. The pitcher's set, and he can pitch. Fastball, slow ball, curve. Here it comes. A hot single to right. And the next one, a strike. The pitch, A smashing double to left field. Another run batted in. All the skill and excitement of World Series when you play Roger Maris Action Baseball by Pressman. Now you can hit home runs just like Roger Maris.
Yes, kids. There's nothing like the thrill of baseball. And now it's yours.
Get Roger Maris Action Baseball today, $2.98. Oh boy, a Pressman toy.
Okay, I'm looking at these two Jerry Lewis films this week, and there's one that's kind of a bad copycat of a previous Jerry Lewis film, and you'll see what I mean when you see the trailer. But we're going to start with one called Family Jewels from 1965. I'm laughing because Jerry plays numerous, I forget the exact number, and I'll get in trouble if I get it wrong, but he plays so many different characters in here. And when you see the idea of the movie, you'll want to rent the rest of the movie, enough said. Family Jewels from 1965. And rounding out this block of Jerry Lewis this week, The Big Mouth from 1967. The character looks strangely familiar, yet he has a different name than a previous Jerry Lewis film. You'll see what I mean. Check these out.
I say, if you will just pay attention here for a moment, I should like to show you the simply fantastic trick that I do in the scene from my latest cinema, The Family Jewels. You see, it all comes about when I, while searching for my little niece Donna, ends up in this absolutely dreadful pool parlor. Steady now. Here it comes.
Hey, creep. Hold it a second. What are you, some kind of monopoly or something? Hey, you, up in the booth. Stop this film this second.
Oh, dash.
Look, folks, I'm in this picture, too. And Donna is by these also. Hey, projector creep, show my part. See? There I am, and there's Donna. Pretty cute, huh? And that Donna ain't so bad either, get it?
Actually, Bugs, I'm in the Family Jewels, too. Couldn't we just look at some of me for a moment? You see, we're all brothers, and little Donna comes to live with each of us for a while. She's looking for a new father, and,
You're not going to give away the whole story, are you? At least let them get a look at all of us. There I am, the world's greatest clown.
Avast there, you painted fool! Let's get on to the He-Man side of this family. Now there's a man for you. Batten down those jib stays there, you landlocked sea dogs.
Good heavens there, Captain. Show them some of me. I'm in the Family Jewels, too, you know. Yes, sir, gang. There I am, winging along to the wild blue with the swiftness of the wind.
Excuse me, Captain Eddie. I know I'm only the chauffeur, but couldn't we just show a little of me?
Why, yes, good heavens, Willard. Off you go, lad.
I'm not really one of Donna's uncles, but I am in the Family Jewels. In fact, we are all not only in the Family Jewels, we are the Family Jewels. Come and see us, won't you?
Oh, I say up there, Mr. Projectionist, you may carry on. Now, watch closely. Here it comes, a jolly well fantastic trick. Dashed I am good, you know. Now, did he say we were the Family Jewels or we're in the Family Jewels? Good heavens.
It's vacation time again. Stroll through an amusement park with a pretty girl. Or go fishing. Or play tennis. Or perhaps you prefer indoor sports. This movie has everything. It's called
The Big Mouth.
It's Jerry Lewis. And he's in big trouble. It's The Big Mouth versus The Big Ma. Co-starring Harold J. Stone, Charlie Callis, Buddy Lester, Del Moore, and introducing Susan Bay and Janine Riley.
As a matter of fact, that's happened to me on a number of occasions just the other day. Someone came up to me and took me for a Gregory Peck.
You're kidding.
What's the problem here, man?
A 309 and a 107.
Oh, resisting arrest and a leaky muffler, huh?
No, driving on the wrong side and faulty taillights.
No, it was just that I was fishing and a man came out of the ocean. I said speeding and expired license plate.
309 is resisting arrest.
That's impossible. It's impossible.
It certainly is impossible. Fantastic. Calamitous.
I have very big problems. Among other things, I think I'm losing my mind.
You're just ridiculous. Why don't you try a cold shower?
A cold shower?
With Jerry running loose, everybody's losing his mind.
I was...
I love you! Absolutely impossible.
Whoa! I'm gonna kill him! Shoot him!
You know, regardless of the fact that Jerry and Dean didn't get along, Jerry Lewis was a comic genius, and he still is to this day. The Family Jewels from 1965, at least 2 thumbs up, if not more. Big Mouth from 1967, not his best work, but it still had the familiar Jerry Lewis gags that still worked. So the film may not have been the greatest overall, but it had some good parts in it. So with that said, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with the boat rocker portion of Trailer Trash TV. Stay tuned.
Drive-in theater is straight ahead. There it is now, Betty. Today's double feature. Have Gun Will Travel and Heckle and Jekyll. It looks terrific, Jimmy. Drive right in and park. Let me show you how it works. Switch on the projector, turn the still knob, and you'll see 6 exciting still features. Have Gun Will Travel and Heckle and Jekyll. Captain Kangaroo and Dinky Duck. Mighty Mouse and Farmer Alfalfa. Golly, what clear, big pictures. This Remco Movie Land Drive-In Theater has everything. 6 complete features. Its own giant screen, projection booth, marquee that changes, ticket window, and 6 beautiful cars. Be the first in your neighborhood to own and operate a Remco Movie Land Drive-In Theater. Only $5.98 at your favorite toy store. Remember, every boy wants a Remco toy. And so do girls.
Now here's Ozzy with news about Big as Life pictures.
Say, do you know what this is? It's a Kodak 35mm color slide. Not very big, is it? Only 2 inches by 2 inches. And yet when you project it on a home screen, you get color pictures as big as life. Now, a Kodak has many fine color slide cameras and a wide range of prices. Here's one I like especially. The new Kodak Signet 50 camera. It has a built-in photoelectric light meter that takes all the guesswork out of exposure. You just aim it at your subject, and it tells you how much light there is or isn't. It's just like having an expert photographer showing you which setting to use.
The Kodak Signet 50 camera, complete with flash holder, costs $82.50, or as little as $8.50 down. When you see its many fine features, I'm sure you'll accept no other.
Okay, given the fact that I haven't got any hate mail yet, I'm gonna keep doing this third block as I saw fit. Like I did. I started this block last week with non-PC cartoons, and like I said before, the society today has gotten so caught up in being politically correct. These were things that were put out in the late 30s, early 40s, predominantly by non-PC. Race, nationality. This is what filmmakers did, and at the time they thought it was funny. This does not reflect my opinion, obviously. I'm just showcasing this stuff so you can see a little bit of cinematic history. So, I mean, if you are offended by these, I apologize. And you have that magic little clicker right next to you. So if you don't like it, turn the channel. But with that said, we're going to kick into these, and we're going to be right back with Classroom Classics.
Customer, Nacum Valley who? Oh, how do you do, Mr. Redskin? I'd like to buy a tom-tom.
Bracelet,
No,
moccasin.
no. I want tom-tom.
Me give 'em tom-tom.
Oh, thank you.
Oga, umayla haba.
Oh. Oh. Oh, I want to buy that.
Take 'em.
Oh, they're gone.
Make 'em spring.
Uh-huh. Look at the fun they're having. Isn't that cute?
Don't make 'em smoke, don't make 'em fire. Make 'em hot. Heap big point.
Oh, isn't he a little darling? Oh.
Hello, Toad.
Oh. Look at him.
Funny fella. Uh-oh, we gotta go. So long.
Oh. Oh, what's the matter with Pop? That's no pot. That's Tom-Tom.
Tom-Tom?
Uh-huh. Look, like this.
Oh.
Big Indian brave. Just beat that drum and make it hum the swing like craze. Play, twist that white wing. Don't feel forlorn. Grind out that corn and make it swing. Come in violin. Trombone make it sing. Super ball, cymbal string. Yes, everybody Oh, what a boy, Mr. Redskin. You're in the mood now.
So long, everybody.
Friend, go in and see the Soda Plymouth dealer tomorrow. And when you do, tell him Groucho sent you.
This is my family album. And this is my brother Harpo. He's always chasing the girls. But to no more, now he's a telling the girls about creamy prom. Because prom home permanent is awaiting clean. Leaves your hair soft like a silk. Look at the way the wave is. She's a bounce back every time. Hey, lady, wouldn't you like your wave behavior like this? You get a creamy prom. Right, Harpo?
There she is, the Lark by Studebaker.
A compact with performability.
You know about performability in the Lark?
Yep.
About the new Lark steering system, new brakes, new front wheel suspension, the Skybolt 6?
Sure do.
How come?
I took a demonstration drive.
Figures. You have to drive the Lark to believe it. See your Studebaker dealer tomorrow and take a demonstration drive.
Tell him we sent you.
Pee Wee Reese has a way with Dodger rookies or Sandlot youngsters. Pee Wee, you do a lot of work with boys.
Not work, Al. I like baseball and kids. I enjoy helping teenagers start right.
Oh, that's around shaving age, and you give them pointers on personal appearance, too?
Yes, a boy has more self-respect when he's clean shaved. I tell him to use a Gillette razor, Al.
You said it, the Gillette Super Speed Razor. And today there are 3. Light for sensitive skin and most younger men. Regular for average skin and beard. Heavy for men who like the heft and feel of a heavier razor. Each is different, precisely engineered. One has the right blade edge exposure, edge angle, and weight to shave you in a breeze. Comfortable, good-looking shaves you may never have had before. And convenient, you change blades and rinse clean so. Choose your Gillette Super Speed Razor. $1.29 with Gillette Blue Blade dispenser and handy travel case.
Okay, so on the heels of last week's Classroom Classic with Junior High Days, we're going to follow that up this week with another classic classroom introduction film, as it were. This introduces kids to puberty. This is something called The Age of Turmoil, and it's presented very over-the-top 50s cornet film style. And some of you may have been worse off going through puberty. I don't think these kids had it so bad, but you'll see when you watch the film. But with that said, I'm going to close out this week's show. sjtrailertrash@yahoo.com is the email. Please let me know what you think, whether positive, negative, whether you're watching the show, whether you don't want to see me anymore, whichever. trailertrashtv.150m.com is the website. So check that stuff out. And oh, one more thing. Very, very special shows. Hopefully, I hope I can pull it off. If I play my cards right, beginning the next program, Trailer Trash TV, first half of the program will be live in Las Vegas. Don't ask me how I pulled this off, and I hope I can pull it off, but something to look forward to. It's going to be cool. We're going to knock out the rest of Trailer Trash with an effing bang this year. So with that said, I've been your host, Scotty J. We'll see you later.
The early teens are years of upheaval and turmoil. They're years of physical and glandular change, new and wider relationships with people, and new inner feelings in the early adolescent. Parents of almost every child find the age of puberty or early adolescence full of problems. The knowledge that these difficulties are normal and usually only temporary helps to turn family friction into more constructive channels. Let's watch some of these youngsters as they spend Friday afternoon and evening. We'll see what some of the common troubles are. Sally, Joan, and Kay are typical teenagers. Each has her own personality, but they're all normal. Their actions may seem excessive, but that's normal for teenagers. For instance, that giggling. The unconstructive criticism of school.
Personally, I think Mr. Aldrich's classes are just a waste of time. If he can't teach any better than that, I can't be bothered studying. Why, you know, this morning we spent 20 minutes before we even opened a book or read anything.
The criticism of families.
Last week, my brother spent all his allowance on candy in one day. I think it's awful the way Mother lets him waste money. Of course, she lets him do anything he wants.
The unrealistic ideas of their own future.
Well, I've really decided I'd like to be a ballet dancer. I'd get started in New York, and then I'd tour all over the country. I'd sure hate to spend the rest of my life in this old dump.
Yes, if you don't make an effort to understand them, teenage girls may seem silly and opinionated. And the boys.
Best pitcher in the National League. He is nice. Ah, yes, he is. He can't throw the ball.
They want to prove their own importance by making themselves heard. That combination of new lung power, changed voices, and boundless energy is hard on the neighbors.
Give him a lap.
They seem to spend hours in completely useless activity. They quarrel a lot, but the gang sticks together. There are no girls in it. They are passionately interested in sports. And hero worship from afar is common.
Holy cow, that's nice.
A car and home, as good as the other boys have, are important. The gang is impressed by material possessions. This bolsters Tom's self-esteem. To boast about Dad's popularity or achievement is very satisfying.
It's an okay. So Dad got a bonus because he sold more in the last 2 months than any other salesman in the district. Next year...
The adolescent is self-centered. Bill's response to every situation is concerned with how it affects him.
My old man's got an order in O'Neill's Motors for a new convertible. We're going to get the first one that comes in.
What kind of car are you getting?
I think it's a shop.
Sam doesn't talk much. He feels safer saying nothing. At least then he can't say the wrong thing. This is a common method of self-protection. At home, away from the group, there are other aspects of adolescent behavior that are annoying to parents. There's the untidiness. The eternal hunger, picking at whatever is around to eat. It's certainly annoying to Mother, who has plans for what is to be eaten and when. But the universal appearance of these adolescent traits leads to the conclusion that they are normal and based on real needs. Kay is quite mature for her age. She's well adjusted, accepting her defects and trying to make the most of her assets. She's tremendously influenced by fashion advertisements and gets many ideas on grooming from magazines, television, and movies. To wear her hair and clothes according to the latest style is much more important than to wear them in the most becoming way. She's not mature enough yet to rely on her own judgment. The world knows best, and she wants to be sure of her place in the world. Mother may have other opinions of what looks best, but of course, Mother has old-fashioned ideas. Kay's mother is always a little overwhelmed by the extremes to which her suddenly grown-up daughter carries her ideas of style. If it's the style to be careless and informal, her sloppiness is so deliberate as to be offensive. But Mother has learned that these things are usually temporary. The less said about them, the more quickly they wear off. Objection often brings friction without any change. Half an hour after she has left her friends, she's on the phone to them again.
Hello, is Johnny there?
It seems unnecessary, but there's a real need for talking to others in the same stage, for constant reassurance of her standing as friend and equal.
Hello, Joni? Look, I've got an idea. Why don't we go down to Johnson's after supper? Maybe some of the gang will be there and we can cook up something.
Gee, Kay, I'm awful sorry. I can't go. I have to stay home tonight. Well, why don't you ask Sally? Maybe she can go. Okay, I'm awful
Joan
sorry.
is not as independent as Kay is, perhaps because she hasn't been encouraged to stand on her own feet. There is no friction in Joan's family life. Her mother finds her a very good girl, not headstrong and flighty like so many of her friends seem to be. She takes her schoolwork seriously, perhaps too seriously. She has high standards for herself, and if she falls below them, her insecurity and worry are increased. Joan seems to be coming quietly through these difficult years, but the stress and strain are there and result in an almost complete withdrawal from people. She does a lot of daydreaming, imagine. She goes over and over little events in her life, reliving her successes and suffering through her failures all over again. Joan doesn't have emotional outbursts. Her safety valve is her diary. Here, she is herself, letting off emotional steam and clarifying her thoughts about growing up. And Sally's home life? Her mother doesn't intend to relax her discipline now, just when Sally needs it most.
Oh, hello, Kay. Just a minute, Kay. Mother, can I even answer the phone without you listening in?
Sally, I don't want you going out tonight. You've been out far too much lately.
All right, Kay, I'll go. I suppose Mother will make a fuss, but I'll be there.
Sally wants independence, and this knocking out of the parental prop leaves her no support but the opinion of her friends. She must maintain her position with them at any cost.
Oh, don't let's ask her. She thinks she's so smart. Personally, I can't see what she has to be stuck up about, except a lot of expensive clothes. Anybody'd look good with all that money.
In her need for assurance, Sally tries to avoid girls who are more attractive or have more money or clothes than she has. She wants to have friends on her own level.
Did she? Oh, that just shows how stupid she is.
The long conversations irritate Sally's mother. She doesn't see them as part of her daughter's adjustment to other people and to herself. For Sally is thinking out loud as she talks. Now let's see how the boys get along at home. Remember, Sam didn't talk much with the crowd. He was more of a listener. At home, he is more sure of himself. His dog provides a great source of comfort and security. Whatever Sam does is all right with him. He's always willing to listen to what Sam has to say. But there are many questions Sam wants to ask. Many incidents of the day he wants to share with his parents.
And then they know where to go, and it's all done by code. Did you know that, Pop?
Everybody knows that, son.
Did you know that, Ma'am?
Yes, dear. Oh, by the way, I wonder if we could go up and see old lady.
Sam's parents sometimes think he talks too much. They don't realize that their son wants to practice his conversational ability on them. Someday, when he is sure of himself, outside, they may have difficulty in finding out what his thoughts are. On the other hand, Tom, who talked so much about his father's achievements, seems most unappreciative of them at home. And he seems to have no ambition. Sometimes his father wonders if he's all right mentally. He is, but early teens are years of uneven development. There are spurts of mental energy as well as physical, and at other times, nothing seems to be happening. In reality, just as Tom's body needs rest after strenuous exercise, so his mind needs time to adjust to its new learning. And Bill's home life?
Where have you been all afternoon? Your father wanted you to cut the grass, and I had some errands I wanted you to do. Now get busy or he'll be annoyed.
So what?
Bill may be willing to cut the grass sometimes when he feels like it, but rules and jobs laid down too firmly by the top brass make him resentful. Bill is at that stage just before puberty, when children seem to go into reverse. Psychologists call it a negative phase.
Bill, do you mean to say you haven't finished that lawn yet?
I don't notice you cutting any grass.
Now, look here, young man. I'm not going to stand that kind of back talk. You're a member of this family, and you're going to act like one. Now, you finish that lawn before supper, or else.
Too strict an attitude by parents seems only to result in more resistance. Bill doesn't seem to find companionship at home or enough satisfaction from hanging around with his old friends. Subconsciously, he is looking for acceptance and help with his problems. Luckily, he finds a friend, older than himself, but a real guy. Bill likes to hang around the gas station, helping Joe Connor, who runs it. Joe finds the boy a thorough worker, and they have lots to talk about. Local gossip, sports, cars, even the news of the day. Bill feels that Joe treats him in a more grown-up way than his parents. He finds it easier to confide in Joe, and he gets a lot off his chest as they chat. Sometimes young adolescents appear to enjoy utter uselessness. But this boundless energy can be directed into useful channels. Sam and Tom belong to the Boy Scouts. Like most teenagers, they enjoy constructive activity and a planned group project. It can be any community group, but organization is needed to ensure that there'll be enough boys there to carry out the program successfully. While they still need adult guidance, during these years, the quality of leadership becomes established. To be aggressive and bossy is no longer enough for the leader as it was in childhood. He must have skill in both physical and mental activities. He's usually slightly bigger or stronger than the average and has a friendly attitude, an outgoing personality. The leader among adolescents is likely to remain a leader through later life. As they move out of the sphere of home influence into the community, young teenagers feel the need of their own kind. They begin to patronize hangouts. Because girls are physically more mature than boys of the same age, most of the advances in the early teen years are made by the girls. Their efforts are crude and childish, but they're the beginnings of experiment in sex adjustment. This kind of performance often shocks parents. The boys really do feel superior to those silly girls, but while they pretend to scorn their attention, they're secretly flattered. Nothing would make them admit this, though. Subconsciously, it takes the form of showing off to attract more of the girls' attention. Kay and Sally didn't get far with the boys, but they found a substitute. Identifying themselves with a glamorous movie actress who is very popular with men gives them a satisfaction they couldn't get any other way. What about Joan? Doesn't she care for any activity or feel a need to admire and love someone? She does, but she has her own quiet way of working it out. She likes to cook all by herself without direction from mother or the confusion of family meals. Tonight, she's making candy. It'll be a present for her music teacher, whom she's adored for a long time without telling anybody. So, 6 typical young teenagers have spent a Friday afternoon and evening. All of them seem to have problems that worry either them or their parents.
For goodness sake, Sam, go to bed. It's late.
Okay.
All of them experienced some parental friction. All want independence. All of them feel some stirrings of interest in sex, either openly or secretly. All of them are trying in their own way to adjust to a new set of circumstances and relationships. Tom's parents recognize this. They're willing to help in the making of these adjustments. As well as showing his interest, Tom's father respects him as a person.
Did you have a good meeting tonight?
Oh, it was okay, but half the fellas didn't show up.
No? Maybe there was something else going on.
Nah, they had dates. Seems like the fellas are always going out on dates now. They never...
He doesn't pry into Tom's affairs. The way is left open for discussion. He tries to be helpful. Contrast the attitude of Bill's father.
Bill, stop that racket, will you?
In a minute.
In a minute, nothing. Right now. I'm trying to listen to the radio. Oh, putting that darn thing up. No, stop it. Did you hear me?
By refusing to recognize his son as an individual with rights and wishes of his own, Bill's father not only fails to get the cooperation he demands, but actually widens the gap between himself and Bill. On the other hand, Tom's parents try to handle the problems of growing up in a constructive way. They gradually increase his independence, at the same time encouraging him to accept responsibility for what he does. Therefore, Tom doesn't have to rebel. The stricter discipline of childhood has given place to friendly guidance for the in-between years. Of course, having understanding parents doesn't eliminate all the problems. but it goes a long way towards lessening the tensions that give to early adolescence its name, the age of turmoil.
Sit in my room and watch those cartoons and hope that I ain't seen. That's just life, now let's strive when you're the trailer trash king. Hey, I'm the trailer trash king and I love Jim Beam and everyone thinks I'm nuts. And then I sit in my room and watch those cartoons and hope that I ain't seen. That's just life, now let's strive when you're the trailer trash king. I said that's just life, and now let's strive when you're the trailer trash king.
Doreen and Dan, the cautious twins, live in our neighborhood. They ask their mother where to play, as all good children should. They tell her who their playmates are, and let her meet them too. For happy tots are careful tots, and they know what to do. One Saturday, Doreen and Dan were called in from their play. They hurried to their mother's call to hear what she would say. She asked them, please go buy some bread, and sent them on their way. She knew they'd go straight there and back, and surely would not stray. So off they went, the cautious twins. They knew the rules to heed. No matter what was offered them, they'd not give in to greed. Most people love a little child. Some grown-ups, though, are bad. The bad ones look like good ones, like any mom or dad. So that is why you must not talk to strangers that you meet. Don't let them give you any toys or anything to eat. If someone that you do not know should offer you a treat, remember how he looks and talks, but run fast up the street. Upon returning from the store, their friends were at the gate. They asked them to the park to play. The twins thought that was great. They'd asked their mother anxiously. They'd really like to go. She told them, yes, be back at noon. You must be prompt, you know. It's wonderful to play with friends, to run and swing and climb, to slide and yell, and all the while remembering the time. When to the restroom you must go at playground, parks, or zoo, be sure to ask a cautious friend to go along with you. Don't stray away from all your friends toward bushes or the trees. Stay near the crowds, the slide, the swings, and Mother will be pleased. It's time to go. Doreen and Dan start home along the street, each watching cars and signals, too. They hurry home to eat. Along the way, a stranger waves just off the avenue. The twins remember Mother's words. They don't forget. Would you? A person may invite you to a house, garage, or shed. Say no to him and run and tell your mother what he said. Doreen and Dan, the cautious twins, run home as good kids do. For home's the very safest place when danger threatens you. Back home at noon, right smack on time. The twins are hungry, say, but better yet, they get to go to the local matinee. Their mother says it's their reward for doing what she asks, remembering rules and helping her with little household tasks. Doreen and Dan are young for shows, that is, to go alone, so Sister Joan will go with them, a sort of chaperone.
It's fun to see a movie show with pirates, Indians, kings, but shows are always pretty dark, and bad people may try bad things. So when you go to see a show, if someone touches you, get up and move away from there and tell the usher too. Don't let a stranger pat your hand or straighten up your clothes. Good strangers let a child alone, as everybody knows. And when they left the show for home, they met some friends of Joan. Although she shouldn't, Joan then told the twins to go on home alone. Doreen and Dan walked on their way. They promised not to roam. A man walked up to them and said he'd come to take them home. If someone tells you he was sent to take you home to Dad, skedaddle away as fast as you can. Perhaps that man is bad. Don't go away with him at all, although he asked you to. If he should grab you, scream so loud that help will come to you. Now that was close, too close for sure. That really was a fright. They had to hurry on their way, for it was almost night. A car drove up, and in it was the cutest puppy dog. The man said, "Come and see my pet." And Dan was all agog. Doreen recalled the rule for this. Then Dan remembered too. If you should see a dog like this, would you remember too? If someone in a motor car should offer you a ride, scream loudly as you run away, but do not get inside. If you can read the license plate, repeat it in your mind, or write it down upon the ground with anything you find. But look where this had left the twins. The alley looked real great. Should they go through and get home fast? It's growing dark and late. But Mother's words came to their mind, and though they'd like to go, they knew that this was time to stop, the best time to say no. It's never safe in alleys or empty buildings, too. It's always best to travel where Mother tells you to. So even though the sun was low, they went the longer way. For safety first, they knew was best at any time of day. And since they learned so very well these lessons, every one, here they are, all safe and sound, to share the family fun. And so you see, Doreen and Dan knew all the things to do. They practiced all the rules